Physics Part 381. Some elements have nuclei which are unstable. In order to become more stable, they emit particles and or electromagnetic radiation. The nuclei are said to be radioactive and the emission is called radioactivity. The emissions are invisible to the eye, but their tracks were first made visible in a device called a cloud chamber. The photograph shows tracks created by one type of emission, and that's what we call the emission of alpha particles. Examination of the nature and properties of emitted particles or radiation shows that emissions are of three different types. These are alpha particles, beta particles, and radiation, the gamma radiation. Call it gamma particles or gamma radiation. All three emissions originate from the nucleus, and we can talk about them in detail. The alpha particles, like a helium atom, an alpha particle contains two protons and two neutrons, and hence carries a charge of plus 2e. Alpha particles travel at a speed up to about 10 power raised to 7 ms, about 5% of the speed of light. Alpha particle emission is the least penetrating of three types of emissions. It can pass through very thin, and alpha particle is identical to the nucleus of a helium atom. Paper but is unable to penetrate thin card. It can pass through very thin. It can pass through very thin paper but is unable to penetrate thin card. Its range in the air is a few centimeters. Because alpha particles are charged, they can be deflected by electric and magnetic fields. As alpha particles travel through matter, they interact with nearby atoms, causing them to lose one or more electrons. The ionized atom and the dislodged electrons are called an ion pair. The production of an ion pair requires the separation of unlike charges, and this process requires energy. Alpha particles have a relatively large mass and charge, and consequently, they are efficient ionizers. They may produce as many as 10's part raised to 5 ion pairs for every centimeter of air through which they travel. Thus, they lose energy relatively quickly and have a low penetrating power. When the nucleus of an atom emits an alpha particle, it is said to undergo alpha decay. The nucleus loses two protons and two neutrons in this emission. In alpha decay, the proton number of the nucleus decreases by 2 and the nucleon number decreases by 4. Each element has a particular proton number, and therefore alpha decay causes one element to change into another. This process is sometimes called transmutation. The original nuclide is called parent nuclide, and the new ones are called the daughter nuclide. For example, uranium 234, the parent nuclide, may emit an alpha particle. The daughter nuclide is thorium 230. In addition, energy is released. This emission is represented by the nuclear equation. 234 90U reacted 230 90TH plus food to helium plus energy.